Welcome to the only comedy podcast on the internet. My name is Tony. No, wait, my name's not Tony because Tony's not here. My name is Matt, and with me is Ace and Seth. Say hello.
Hey.
Oh, Seth.
Yeah,
Seth.
I'm sick as a motherfucker.
Yes, everybody. Seth is sick.
So you're not wondering.
Not feel well,
he also has an illness.
Yes. Well, you know, those things tend to go hand in hand sometimes.
Ace, I wish you were more supportive of me.
Yeah. So we're gonna try and treat Seth very well today. Yes. So I know that we don't have like a ton of topics going on, but I do have one topic because last week I realized. You know how sometimes you realize you're like incredibly ignorant about something really basic that affects your everyday life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, I'm ignorant ignorant about how money works. Besides the fact...
I was going to say finances,
besides the fact that I work and I get money and I spend it on stuff. Like, because I was listening to a book... and it took place in the 1950s, and they were talking about prices, and I'm like, you know, no matter how much people try to explain inflation to me, I don't understand how come, like, a bottle of Coke doesn't still cost a nickel. Because it's all imaginary, right? Am I crazy, or is money just, like, this imaginary thing, like, that we just assign value to?
I mean, we did make it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally is just value.
I've had that contemplative thought before. When you go, what exactly am I trading this revenue for? Like, what is this in my hand? This tangible thing that I'm holding. What does this represent? And I mean, it represents money, but at the same time, it's intangible until you actually spend it, and then you have an object with said money or a service.
Well, I have a friend who's really smart about business and money and everything, and he's independently wealthy because he has a business, and so he knows all this stuff, and he tries to explain it to me like stock market and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't understand. It's $1, and they had dollars since the dollar was invented, so how come like now $1 won't get me like anything, but back in like the 50s $1 could get me a lot of stuff if I went to the store. Like it would get me candy and a Coke and like a small milkshake, and now it's like, oh, I have $1, I have nothing. So I don't know.
But then at the same time, that dollar would have been worth $20, so it's weird. I think the hardest thing about money is trying to... In this, man, what a boring fucking podcast this is.
It basically just boils down to how incredibly ignorant I am of something that impacts.
But no, it's not ignorance, because there's all kinds of factors that come in. Like, for instance, me and Seth both largely work in the art of doing customized artwork for people, and yet per value, we're not making shit. Comparatively, where somebody is like okay with buying a mass-produced, we'll use a television for instance, because like a television nowadays costs about $20 to manufacture, but has the value of $200, and yet somebody will still give you shit about paying for artwork for $60. They'll be like, I don't know, and it's like, I don't know, I'm putting 3 days of work into this, versus the television that's produced on a factory line using $20 of material and virtually no inspection, versus the one guy who just looks at it and goes, okay, this is okay.
Well, I solved the problem. We're just going to say that dollars are worth more now. Dollars are just worth more, everybody. Enjoy.
Why would they be worth less? If we need more of them
I don't understand.
I don't know. Anyway.
That's what I mean. I don't understand. It's crazy.
My turn.
Your turn.
I'm out of it.
That's how conversation works, right? My turn to talk.
Yes,
my turn to say things.
Because I had nowhere else to go with that. I was
just better than what I had.
So the other day, I was even sicker than I am now, and my friends were doing an Easter thing, and I wasn't going because I was sick. But they came over to pick up my roommate, and one of them, who I haven't talked to in a long time, he went to the bathroom while the other two were talking. And he comes back, and I had I had a stack of pancakes. My roommate made me pancakes, and
Yes.
he just grabs one with his bare hands and just shovels it into his mouth. It wasn't like fresh out of the pan or anything. Like I had butter and syrup, but I had already taken a bite out of it, and he just grabs one with his bare fucking hand. Pushes.
Wow.
I just stood there in shock.
Special right there.
Just like, I said, what the fuck are you doing? And he looked at me like he didn't realize he was doing it. Like he was just on autopilot.
What?
You're sick though. Shouldn't that be a cold indicator to not eat your pancakes?
He might not have known.
Oh, well, he's probably
I hope
dead.
that motherfucker enjoys that.
Yeah, I hope he's sick now. Yeah, because I wouldn't want to. I don't like doing anything involving sick people, especially eat food that they've already been eating off of.
I think he just saw it out of the corner of his eye and thought it was just like a fresh stack of, like it was a platter of pancakes.
Must be.
But he didn't explain it that way. He didn't say anything. He just kind of shrugged it off. And I'd been thinking about it all weekend.
Well, that's so. Was he a furry?
Well, yeah, I don't
That explains it.
like to, I mean, all my other friends and my roommate are furries.
And I bet they went to go have a howl, didn't they?
No, they went to have dinner.
And they probably did so
They
with their
went
hands.
to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus.
I have lots of furry friends. That's the only one that's ever just like grabbed a fucking pancake with all 5 fingers. Not just like not just like a tweezer method.
They went-
like just his fucking
went
bear
to-
claw.
yeah.
He grabbed.
They were like, guys, we're off to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus, which actually used to be a pagan sex festival, and now we're gonna like eat food and pancakes and stuff.
You know, now that I think about it, nobody else in the room was like off put by it. I was looking around. I was like, "Do you see this? Do you see what just happened?
It's furries.
See what he did to me?"
Furries. That's how.
Hey, stop being so racist.
That's how you express dominance in the furry culture. You eat another man's pancakes.
Yes,
that keeps him down.
I rolled over. I showed him my belly.
Yeah.
Ooh, wait, let me turn down the lights and you can say that again.
the fuck up, Matt.
Slower.
my Easter was I have my coffee pumpkino. So my intention for Easter was to get really drunk. And I ended up sleeping all of Easter without, like, I missed Easter in its entirety.
That's the same thing as being really
Yeah,
drunk.
I suppose I was like, this Easter I'm gonna enjoy my pumpkin beer and I'm just gonna watch cartoons and get really drunk. I found a deal on buying season 1 of Gumball on DVD for $4. So I'm like, I'm gonna get Gumball, I'm gonna drink beer, and I'm just gonna roll around on my floor. And instead, I literally slept the entirety of the day.
Better than what I did.
I woke up to have
I
a
went
couple
to
of
work.
Reese's eggs.
It's not even that you were less productive.
Yeah, I was
You
gonna say.
accomplished about the
there's-
same
that's-
amount.
without the vomiting the next day.
It's actually better.
I have never alcohol vomited. Granted that I've seldomly have
you
drunk.
lucky person.
I mean, I have my stories, but I've never. But what were
Yeah.
you going with?
Oh, I was gonna say, well, I've alcohol vomited a few times, but I remember when I was in college. This is this type of story everybody hates. It's the how drunk were you story. But this
How
is actually
drunk were you?
no. This is actually a story about being really dumb.
How dumb were you?
Well, I'll tell you. When I was in college, there was I had some friends that had their own house, and we would play beer pong there. And one day I went over to play beer pong, and they were like, "Oh shit, we didn't go out and get any other beer. All we have is this keg of chocolate oatmeal stout." And we were like, "Okay, is that good to play beer pong with?" And they were like, "I don't know."
That's gross to put it in a keg. Like, I'll have
I
one.
guess it was.
It's whatever the fuck's
Yeah.
out, but not a keg's worth.
So anyway, we played beer pong with it, and it did not taste very much like chocolate or oatmeal until after I had chugged my 4th one, and all of a sudden my stomach didn't feel well, and I was seeing the stout in reverse. and then it tasted like chocolate and oatmeal.
Maybe that's why. Oh, maybe now the flavors make sense. Because every time I have a chocolate stout, I'm like, this doesn't taste like chocolate.
Yeah, if you ever have 4 of them in very quick success, because stout's really heavy, so all of a sudden my stomach was like, whoa, this is way too much, and then it tasted like...
It's kind of like wine tasting. You have to swallow it and then vomit it out to actually taste it.
I guess so. I never liked wine, so...
I think it's fair to say that Seth is one of the only 2 people to see me at my drunkest.
What? Really? When was your drunkest?
My drunkest was when we were hanging out and I was like cuddling your ass or some shit. I have very faint recollection of watching Red Letter Media and using your ass as a pillow for a period of time. And that's about as much as I... Like you said everybody has a how drunk were you story. I don't have that story. The only other time I'd been drunk or buzzed was years before, hanging out with a couple of friends, and I was buzzed, and my story was the same thing as Seth's, only instead of laying on his ass, I was laying on her boobs. And that was the extent of, like, I was like, yeah, I'm laying on your boobs. It'd be sexual harassment if I was sober. And she's like, I don't give a fuck.
You were so drunk that you weren't squeamish to touch me.
Yeah, that's actually apt. But that's about as far as I recollect. So I don't have I have plenty of, like, you know, my favorite very brief story is hanging out with a few friends, and I had a metalhead friend, and we just elected to get alcohol. Everybody wanted to drink, and I don't really drink so much, so I wasn't drinking. But they were like, hey, why don't you go pick up some alcohol? So I got Jack Daniels. And for whatever reason, I'm sorry. I got Southern Comfort, not Jack Daniels. He had wanted Jack Daniels, and I had got Southern Comfort. So he looked at the Southern Comfort. He goes, "What is this? Some kind of weak whiskey? It's not Jack Daniels or anything." And he kept hyping how Jack Daniels was like the real stuff. So he drinks a lot of it, and my favorite portion is about an hour later. We're sitting in my backyard, and I'm holding his long hair, and he's sobbing uncontrollably, and he's vomiting all over the place, and he's just sobbing, and for whatever reason, he's just continuously saying, "I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry."
He called you sir.
Yeah, he was calling me sir, and he was vomiting uncontrollably, and yeah, it was fun stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder why people are like, yeah, because I don't drink anymore. And not that long ago, a couple weekends ago, I went to Boston with a buddy of mine, and we went out on Saturday night, and he was like having drinks and stuff, and he kept going, "Oh, taste this. This is really good." And I'm like, "No, I don't want it. I don't drink anymore." And he's like, "Why? That's no fun." And I'm like, "Well, I think it's plenty fun. I'm having a great time. I don't need to," because I used to, party pretty hard when I was younger, and now I'm like, no, I realize I can have just as much fun and not have to deal with headaches and vomiting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm similar boat, but I have all this cat pumpkachino, and I'm like, I was saving it for Easter because it seemed Easter is a terrible time for me, mainly because everybody and their fucking mom wants to message me like, "Hey, it's Easter, I was thinking of you." So, okay. Mm-hmm. Because bunnies, right? Yeah,
right.
I didn't even put it together.
Yeah, no, everybody wants to message me on Easter, so I thought to counterbalance that I would get drunk.
That's
and
funny.
instead I ended up sleeping. And that's my story about how I took a nap.
Cool.
So,
maybe we should...
so far we've talked about pancakes and money and napping.
I drunk vomited on a highway. That's my story. Twice.
Sounds like fun. Not real. Yeah. Yeah. Vomit stories are funny. I mean, can't help that. So should we, since we don't have too much else going on, should we get to our story?
Yeah, might as well. I really can't think of shit going on. I mean, Star Wars had a trailer. That was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, it sure was.
It's a trailer, that's all I have to say. I wasn't too thrilled about the people being angry already, on both sides of the fence. And I don't get why everybody's like, "Oh, you're a stupid asshole if you don't like this," versus also the people who are like, "Oh, this is the worst thing ever." It's like,
it looks
just
terrible,
a teaser trailer.
but it doesn't show anything.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand either side of that argument. It's just sort of like, it's just a teaser. Doesn't tell you or show you shit.
Very true. Very true.
And what else? Star Wars dropped, and that's about it. I read today that there's going to be like 170 Guardians of the Galaxy things at the end of the credits.
Yeah, something like 5
This is the whole
post and mid-credit scenes. I'm like, that's a little bit much.
That's too many.
You know what I want? I want them to just air the credits at the beginning and have the entire movie be post credits.
That would be really funny.
Oops, all credits.
I could get on board. Yeah, I could get on board with that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's as far as it is this week in geek. That's all I recall seeing. Video games exist. People like playing them.
They sure do. Mm-hmm.
Political stuff happen.
Yeah, the best political stuff, the greatest political stuff. It was very big league. It was amazing.
You promised.
Thank you.
There's a lot of political stuff that happened. That was fun.
It's true. It's very true.
Man
I'm at the
got
center
killed
of all
on
of it.
Facebook.
I can't. Yeah. Wait, what?
Man got killed on Facebook.
Oh God, that was. Oh, I don't even want. That's like the most horrible.
Ace
thing.
not podcast material.
The fact that I said that and I started laughing is terrible.
A little bit.
Yeah.
We're not gonna tackle
I don't know.
that.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna touch that.
We're just gonna say that it
We're just
happened.
gonna jump
no,
straight into
We're gonna read this story here. We're gonna read
Weather
this story,
fanfiction.
guys.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what. I love the author's author photo. He's looking all like cash,
he might be
like
autistic.
a whatever type
I
picture.
hate to say that. It makes it less funny that we're reading this, but
Yeah.
Inferno Experiment 666 by Inferno 1990-0828.
is that when he was born?
I guess. I bet it is. I bet he was born on August 28th of 1990.
Oh, I thought it was.
And what a year that was.
1990-0828. Anyway,
Okay, so are we just going to dive right in? And I'm going to
being
be the
Tony.
part of Tony
Yeah.
this week. Okay. Chapter 4. Finalizing plan. No, I'm not going to do the Tony accent. Okay.
Yeah, besides, you were doing it right. Obviously, Tony sounds like Chapter 4, finalizing the plans. That's how he
That's
always
right,
sounds.
Governor. Yeah. He sounds like a
Sicko.
real bad. He sounds like Jim Jiminy, Jim Jaroo. Good luck, Will Roboff. When I shakes hands with you. That's Tony, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Okay. Chapter 4, finalizing plans. Finished on Friday.
you don't have to read that
Okay,
part.
sure. Why does he include it though? Finished on Friday, July 17th,
tax reasons.
2015 at 00:01:33.
People don't read time like that.
Okay.
People don't read timestamps like that.
I know, but my point is, what is the after? What is the? Nah, never mind. People can't see it. I'm just wondering. He obviously means 133, but why is the 00 in front of the 01?
Oh.
Wednesday.
Oh. I didn't realize that the zero... Oh, that is weird.
Days.
See, he carried it out like there's something beyond hour. You see the hour and the minute there, but there's...
I didn't.
What is
yeah, I
that
didn't
other thing?
realize
I don't
that.
know. Unless he means he finished it at... unless it's hour, minutes, seconds. Unless he finished it... Because 00 would be...
At the first minute, 33 seconds.
Yeah, it would be 00. Yeah, that could be midnight, 1 minute and 33 seconds. Okay. Wednesday, September 3rd, 2008, before school. At 6 o'clock the next morning, Earl woke up to find that Inferno was already up and eating breakfast with his father. He greeted his father and Inferno, who both acknowledged his presence. The three then began discussing their plans for the day. Earl's father said that he would be sleeping for most of the day since he had to work that night. Inferno told Earl that he would be there, probably sleeping for a lot of the day.
Oh.
The three ate breakfast. Oh, wow, this is a great story, guys. The three ate breakfast, then Earl left for school. As Earl walked the 2 blocks to the bus stop, he couldn't help but feel sorry for Inferno. He was there at the house all alone for 8 hours of every day. He thought that he would skip school for just one day, using that day to hang out with Inferno.
Oh no, is
As
he gonna
was
come
thinking
back
of
and he's
this-
gonna catch them fucking?
I hope so. As he was thinking of this, he remembered that many of his fellow seniors were already making plans to skip school the day after prom. He was still deep in thought when he reached the bus stop. He saw that Andy was there, and he stopped to say hi. Andy replies.
What's up, Earl?
Earl replies back.
Not much.
What did Inferno say last night?
He said that he would like to join us.
That's good. I would really like to meet him.
He said the same thing about you.
Same thing of you.
Whatever.
I just like how awkwardly that is phrased. He said the same thing of you. I think we should meet at 11 o'clock on Friday night.
I like that time. Let me go ask Inferno, and I will let you know next week. You didn't say that part.
Then it was time to get on the bus. So they parted ways, got on the bus. Why did they part ways if they were both getting on the bus?
They've sat on different sides of the bus.
So they parted ways, got on the bus, and headed to school. When they got there, Earl headed straight for his locker, placed his cell phone in there, and grabbed his book for the first 4 periods of his day. He then shut his locker and walked across the hall to his first class.
End of chapter 4. What?
End of chapter
was all.
4. That was an exciting chapter, guys. An exciting chapter.
Well, goodbye, everybody.
Chapter 5. Yeah. Oh, God, what the fuck? Okay, Chapter 5, Earl's Bedroom, finished on Sunday, July 9th. No, I'm not going to read that.
Earl's boredom.
This is gonna be a good chapter.
I think it's going to be our boredom. First period English class 4 academic. First period English 4 academic. Okay.
Dun dun.
Dun dun. Earl walked into room number 144, his class.
144 for his
144
class.
for his class. Oh my god. 144 for his class. He sat down. Why didn't he just say like 144? He sat down in his seat, opened his books and his notes, and then prepared for the lecture. As the lecture began, Earl began to write down what his teacher, Mrs. Davis, was saying. It was really easy for him since she also wrote the words on the chalkboard. In 2008, they had a chalkboard? Okay. He listened to Mrs. Davis talk for a good 20 or 30 minutes before he got bored and started to daydream. He continued to write notes in his notebook, but he was no longer listening to her speak. Oh my god. Earl's point of view. Dun,
Okay,
dun.
should I do this part?
I don't fucking care.
Why do it like this? Why
am
does
doing
it
it
change? Why?
I don't know. I wish I did.
I was looking at the chalkboard, absent-mindedly writing everything that Mrs. Davis was writing. Over my thoughts of wanting to go home and hang out with my little alien friend, I could hear the bitch talking about public speaking.
God.
Oh.
Wow, you got a little,
I absolutely despise the topic. After listening to her drone on about it for the past 5 or 6 class periods, the dumb cunt. I wanted to find some way to communicate with Inferno during the god-awful class, but there was just no getting around this fucking bitch. I just not exaggerating that part.
Wow.
I don't want Earl's point of view. He's got a shitty point of view.
Let me tell you a thing or two about that Ghostbusters remake.
Okay, no.
No, you shut up.
Inferno was probably curled up at the foot of my bed, sleeping peacefully. That seems to be all that he does. It's a good way to pass the time as any, I guess. Still, though, I wonder what he's really thinking. When I get home from school every day, Inferno was usually there to greet me. I think that he really genuinely cares for me. He never complains that I'm gone a lot, but still, I wonder how he feels. How he really feels.
Normal point of view. 5 minutes
Why is it
later.
5
Dun, dun.
minutes later?
Why is it called the normal point of view when it's from the omniscient third-person narrator?
The omnipotent God's point of view.
Meanwhile, back at Earl's house, Inferno was, in fact, peacefully sleeping, curled up at the foot of Earl's bed. He woke up a few seconds later. The first thing he did was log into Earl's computer. He logged onto the National Hurricane Center's website in order to research hurricanes. He found a page that described what hurricanes were and how they formed.
Does he still not know what hurricanes are? After this log, this is all he does every day. He logs onto the National Hurricane Center website.
Is he an alien? Is that what's going on?
This is Lilo and Stitch, so he's an experiment.
Oh, okay.
Genetically modified.
He read it very thoroughly, then wrote down his thoughts in a notebook that Earl had given to him. In this notebook, Inferno wrote down his personal thoughts. Anytime he thought really hard about something, he wrote it down. He wrote his feelings down, then closed his notebook, placing it back in its place. Guys, this is just so bad. Inferno and Earl were both very tidy people. Everything had its place. Earl kept his school supplies in the top drawer of his desk. In the drawer below it, he kept all of his hurricane stuff in folders. Organized by year, then by storm. What is with the hurricanes? In the third drawer, he kept all of it. In the third drawer, he kept all of his school stuff in folders organized by course. Then in the bottom drawer, Earl allowed Inferno to keep all of the things that he'd accumulated during his time in the home. The rest of the room was just as neat. Earl kept all his things in boxes, labeling each with something that reminded him just what was in it. Inferno's area was empty, as he'd not accumulated much stuff during the 5 days he'd been in Watsika. Watsika? Okay, sure. He was someone who didn't really need that much stuff, though, so his empty area was just fine by him. The two friends would take turns cleaning their rooms Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday were Earl's days, while Inferno had the cleaning duties on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Well, yeah, those were the only days left, dummy. During the prior week, Earl had taken the time to explain to Inferno where everything went. Oh my god, this is tedious. Inferno watched Earl place his things in their proper places, memorizing the location where Earl had placed each and every item. Earl had told him to remember where things went so that he could clean the room when Earl wasn't there. Back in Earl's class. Dun dun.
You're gonna clean my room when I'm gone.
Mrs. Davis had just begun explaining how to outline a speech. This particular portion of the lecture, in Earl's mind, was the most boring part. She then, if you think that's the most boring part, try reading about it. She then gave the students an opportunity to practice writing a basic outline, and Earl went back off into La La Land. Back at the house, dun dun. Inferno was sitting in Earl's room alone. He wanted to hang out with his new friend. He didn't understand why Earl had to go to school. He decided that he'd ask him when he got home. After pondering the question for 5 or 10 minutes, he went into reflection about something Earl had told him during the prior weekend. It had to do with masturbating. Dun dun. Inside Inferno's mind, his point of view, dun dun.
I heard Earl call my name. I went over to where he was and asked him what's the problem was. He said that he had to go to school on Tuesday, although I've got to admit that I have no idea what that meant. He was more than happy to explain it to me. He said,
"School is the place I go to learn different subjects like math and chemistry."
"Why are those things so important?" I asked.
"I need these things to get further in my own life. I'm not like you. I don't know these things, so I've got to learn them. That's why I go to school."
"I think I understand now. Is that why you're gone for 8 or 9 hours every day?"
"Yes. What you think of as a long time without me there..." What? Wait. What you think of as a long time without me there is, to me, 7 different, shorter time periods.
This was like written by
What?
Whoever wrote this has like oh my god.
Each one is a different class.
"And you're taking 7 of them? I already know that you're taking Algebra 2 and Chemistry 1. What are the other 5?
I'm also taking
my
English
God.
4 academic. Wait, English 4 academic?
Apparently.
English 4 academic, PE, Spanish 2, study hall, and web page design.
Except for the study hall, for its purpose is fairly obvious to me. What is the purpose of these other 4?
Oh my God, dude.
Well,
What is going on?
I'm sorry, but its purpose is fairly obvious to me. Is a great line.
you study halls. Well,
He began.
English 4 academic is designed to help me learn how to write better papers. PE, short for physical education, is a really boring class whose purpose I don't fully understand myself.
It's so you don't grow up to be a fat fuck.
Then in Spanish 2, I'm learning a foreign language called, as the name suggests, Spanish. In web page design, I learned how to design a web page. It's not something I have
my
to
God.
learn, but it's something that I took for fun.
Oh, I said. I see.
Matt,
Oh, is it
Yeah.
back to me? I was zoning out.
I don't have any lines for the rest of it.
Normal point of
Thank
view.
God.
15 minutes later, dun dun. 15 minutes after his teacher ended the lecture, Earl had finished writing his practice outline. After a few more minutes of just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, he was in La La Land for the third time that period. The shameful thing was the period was about to end. Why is that shameful? Earl had just begun to daydream for the third time when the bell rang to end the class period. Earl got up out of his seat, completely exhausted. He closed his textbook and notebook, stacked them neatly on top of the other stuff he'd brought, and went quietly to his locker. Now, Earl's locker was just as neat as his bedroom at home. Everything had its place. He kept all of his textbooks, notebooks, and binders organized there. We get it! He's neat! God damn it! Organized there on the bottom shelf of the locker according to his class schedule. All the way to the left, he'd placed his materials for first period, and all the way to the right were his materials for seventh period. While Earl was at his locker, he checked his phone. No messages. Inferno must not have needed anything, he thought, and then placed all of his materials back in their places, shut the door, and proceeded to walk to the gym for his second period class.
End of chapter.
When are we gonna get to the fireworks factory?
What Experiment 66? Okay, well, I've gotta see what this story is supposed to be about. Experiment 666 is designed to be an invincible fighting machine, but when he's separated from Jumba, he lands in Watseka, Illinois, meeting his best friend and his true love there. In Watseka, 666 will have to fight Hamsterville? Or Hamsterville? Hamsterville?
Hamsterville.
Hamsterville? Ugh. What the fuck is this
Wait,
story?
his true love. Does that mean Earl and Inferno
I think
are gonna fuck?
I think
I
his
hope
best
so.
friend and his true love. I think they're two different people, but it makes it sound like it's. I hope it's Earl. I hope so.
Earl can use it.
Okay, here we go. Guys, this is so thrilling. Chapter 6, Frisbee and Reflection. Second period, Physical Education.
Wait,
Dun dun.
up there it says games in reflection, but then it says frisbee in reflection. I don't get it.
Can we just reflect on
where?
how bad that name is for a title?
Yeah, but look, it says on the little chapter selection it says 6 games in reflection.
Yeah.
But then under it says chapter 6 frisbee in reflection.
Well, maybe they don't have games. Maybe they just have Frisbee. I don't know. Second period, Physical Education. Dun dun. During the time that Earl was walking to his physical education class, Inferno sat in Earl's room wondering what he could do with this part of his day. Who cares? He had a pretty strong feeling that Earl was bored out of his mind, but he knew that there wasn't much that he could do for his friend. He felt, though, as if he should do something with his time. After mulling it over for a few seconds, he logged back into Earl's computer with the goal of typing his notebook's contents. Ooh. Inferno's point of view. Dun dun.
One of the things that Earl had done to accommodate me on his computer was to establish a user account for me. He'd given me a simple password that was easy for me to remember. 000666. He told me that the extra 3 zeros were necessary because passwords are required to have at least 6 characters. He then began to show me around the computer, explaining what certain Earth terms... I don't think this is actually the voice that I was using for him. I think I was much from the lower registry. Yeah, this is the voice. Yeah, I was trying to be Eric, but explaining what certain Earth terms that I was unfamiliar with meant. He told me about something called Windows XP, and I asked him what that meant. His response was,
Windows XP is the program that runs the computer. Everything you see here on the screen is part of it.
I had asked him what the icons on the screen meant, and his response was,
The top left icon is called the recycle bin. This is where the computer stores the documents that you delete until you decide to permanently get rid of them.
Then pointing to the next one down, I asked, what's that one?
That is the control panel. That is where you change the settings for your user account at. Some of the settings on there are inaccessible to you, for your account does not have administrative privileges.
Oh no, what's he gonna do?
He explained, I take it that you are the computer administrator.
That's correct,
he said. Then, changing the subject and pointing to the next icon on the screen, I asked him, what's this one?
That is your personal folder. And there are all your personal files, documents, music, pictures, and videos that you create or download are stored there.
He said, pointing to the icon at the top of the next column, I asked, what's this?
Oh my God.
That is a word processing program. It is called Microsoft
he's
Word.
literally taking the time to describe Windows.
It's called Microsoft Office Word 2007. Here you can type almost anything. I use it for school.
Almost anything!
Wait, what can't you
Almost
type?
anything! He said, then he said,
These next 3 icons are also Microsoft Office programs. The first one is called Excel. It's like a calculator in which you can type any number of numbers and do various calculations with them. Next.
No, that's not what Excel is.
Next is PowerPoint. You can use this program to create slideshows. Finally, there's OneNote. It's like an electronic notebook in which you can type any kind of notes. For your purpose, though, I think Word will suffice.
Oh my God. Normal point of view. Dun dun. Inferno logged into Earl's computer using his password. As soon as he was in, he found and clicked on the large W, which, as Earl had told him, was Microsoft Word. When he clicked on it, a small box popped up, and inside, in large black font, were the words Microsoft Office Word 2007. What is happening?
he's about to write a document.
Then, about 25 seconds later, the document screen came into view. Thank you for describing Word. He then pulled out his personal notebook, opened it, and began to type. On the very first line, he typed the date of his entry, Thursday, August 28th, 2008. He pressed the Enter key, then the Tab key. Then he began the first paragraph of his entry. He finished the entire thing, running nearly 2,000 words and 4 pages in about 45 seconds. He then typed the remaining 6 entries in his notebook, finishing all of them in almost 5 minutes. And then he saved each of them, giving each one its date as its name. After he was finished, he logged onto the internet to check the latest forecasts for Tropical Storm Hannah and Hurricane Gustav. While on the National Hurricane Center's website, he saw that there was a 3rd tropical cyclone active, this one named Ike. He wrote down everything he learned about the 3 storms in his notebook, and when he was finished, he closed the web browser and opened Microsoft Word for a 2nd time. He typed his new entry in 5 minutes, saved it, logged off the computer, and then decided to take a nap. Okay.
I'm engaged.
Back at... Guys, wow. Back at the high school, dun-dun, Earl and his male classmates were busy playing frisbee outside in the nearly 90-degree early September fresh air. Why only boys?
Because the girls are fighting ghosts.
Oh, okay, gotcha. After he'd split the 25 men into 2 teams, now they're men. Men! Because high school seniors, those are men.
They earned it.
The teacher, Mr. Hill, I bet Mr. Hill likes sitting watching the men play frisbee in the heat. Wait, what was I talking about again? Oh, Mr. Hill had sent one half to one end of the field and the other half, including Earl, to the other end. The half on the north end of the field had on belts with 2 red flags attached by Velcro, and the half on the south end of the field had on belts with 2 yellow flags attached by Velcro. The game was structured a lot like a football game in that there were 2 end zones and a field goal. The goal was to catch the frisbee in the end zone. That's how you score. I don't think that's how Mr. Hill is trying to score. Earl was standing in the necessary end zone to score for his team when a large, tall, ugly-looking dude from the other team threw the frisbee right at his crotch. He caught the frisbee, but not before it hit him right in the balls. His team earned the 6 points, and the ugly dude got a detention. The teacher, viewing his actions as intentional, he later commented to one of his friends that the ugly dude was a fucking retard. Wow. Just wow. Back at Earl's house, 5 minutes later, dun-dun. After a 15-minute nap, Inferno woke up and flipped on the TV. After he flipped through the various channels for a few minutes, he settled on... Oh, my God. He settled on Fox News. Oh, my God, guys. This fucking freaking... There was a total idiot on the screen talking shit about Iran's nuclear problem. He had absolutely no idea what Iran was, but he knew that if this idiot was talking about it, then it must be important. The idiot turned out to be none other than the Prime Minister of the State of Israel, Moshiach Shalom. Inferno, after listening carefully to what he was saying, thought, man, Earl was right. This guy really is an idiot. Wait, what? They're discussing... oh, God. Getting sick of listening to the idiot speak, Inferno turned his attention and the TV over to CNN. There was another idiot. This one, the President of the United States, Terry Weekly.
Wait, what? I thought they...
That's my favorite president!
Wait, okay, so now there is a fictional president, but didn't they also talk about Barack Obama before?
Well, maybe Barack Obama got impeached and Terry Weekly took his place.
Oh, right, Vice President
Don't you
Terry
remember
Weekly.
when that happened in 2008?
I forgot all about Terry Weekly.
Terry, and not just Weekly as Weakly, like he's trying to make some kind of statement about...
not Terry Weekly, the talk show.
Mm-hmm. He, too, was talking about the sanctions he'd imposed on Iran, only he was making much more sense than the idiot on Fox. However, like with Fox News, Inferno could only handle a little of listening to this idiot on CNN speak. He soon turned off the TV, rose from his seat, and went outside. Guys, a total millennial wrote this. Back at the high school, dun-dun. Earl was still standing in the end zone, in almost the same position as he'd been standing for the past 35 minutes. The frisbee was thrown to him for the 5th time, but he was slow to respond and didn't catch it. Then another dude on his team threw it to him a 6th time, and he caught it. After this catch, the teacher declared an end to the game. The 26 men went back inside the school, changed out of their uniforms, while Mr. Hill watched on intently and just sat there waiting for the bell to ring. When it finally did, Earl left the gymnasium and went back to his locker. He grabbed his book, notebook, and binder. Oh God, it's so exciting for 3rd period. Then slowly proceeded to walk into the classroom.
Where was the reflections? I get where the frisbee was. I get that.
I can't believe we're literally walking through his day by day at this point.
I have a theory. So you can see in the description of the story that he's an invincible fighting machine. He's going to fight Hamsterville, and he's going to meet his true love. I think this is all of the stuff in between the story that like stories usually leave out. I think this is everything in between.
This is the off-camera stuff.
Behind the scenes. The cutting room
This
floor.
is like, when does the... Yeah, this is kind of like if instead of watching the Joker, like, unfold his plan of murdering people, we watched him, like, get up, get dressed, go take a shit, and then read the newspaper, and then missed out on all the good stuff.
It just cuts through to after his big plan.
Yep, and the plan is over, and he's like, oh, man, I kind of... I kind of gotta go take a shower. And now I don't know, maybe I should make some popcorn.
I wonder what Harley Quinn
He's
is
just sitting
doing.
He's just sitting there crying and punching Harley Quinn.
Yeah. Oh man, should we read this next one, guys?
We totally should. We literally have more time. We've only been at this for 40 fucking
I
minutes.
can't believe.
Okay. Good. This is what happens when we don't have anything to talk about. We read stuff like this. Hooray.
This story is fucking riveting. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my god, it's literally more. Oh god, freaking Chapter 7, Quiz Day, 3rd period, Algebra 2, dun dun. As Earl walked into room 146 for his 3rd period class, he was thinking about what better things he could be doing with his time. For example, he could have been at the house teaching Inferno more about hurricanes. What is with the hurricanes?
At
He
this
lives
point,
in
Inferno
Indiana.
knows more about hurricanes than Earl.
Or about the culture of this town. He only had so much time over the weekend to explain things to him, and he really wanted to explain more. When he walked into the classroom, he noticed that his teacher, Mr. Emerson, was looking particularly handsome Mr. Emerson was handing the students papers, which could, in Earl's mind, mean only one thing. As Mr. Emerson handed him the paper, it had his phone number on it and little boxes that says, "Do you like me? Yes or no?" No. As Mr. Emerson handed him the paper, he thought, oh great, another fucking quiz. A few seconds later, he sat down and began working on the quiz. As he read the first problem, he thought, 4x plus 6 equals 666. That's too damn easy. The answer is that x equals 165, because when you subtract 6 from both sides... What is happening? Why?
I've been gnawing on my fucking hand this whole time, and that fucking breaks me. When your story has math in it, it's like, move over, Batman, move over, Superman, fuck Star Wars, we got math.
Because when you subtract 6 from both sides, the result is that 4x equals 666. Then, when you divide both sides of that equation by 4, the resulting equation is x equals 165. Whoa, riveting stuff. Earl's house, 2 minutes later. Dun dun. Inside Earl's bedroom, Inferno was sitting there, just staring into space. He really had nothing to do, so he decided to go out in the backyard. He laid in the grass and eventually fell into a state of deep relaxation. This was the state he went into right before a reflection hit him.
Oh, here's the reflection.
Inferno's point of view. Dun dun.
It was Saturday night. Earl and I had just returned from uptown and were sitting on his bed talking. Just then his father called me out into the dining room. He said, Inferno, would you like to drink a beer with me tonight? Yeah. Why not, I replied. I took the beer can from his hand and he said, do you see that little rounded tab thing on the top? Yeah, I do. What do I do with it, I asked. Put it backwards and push it back forwards. I did what he said, and then the can opened. I slowly began to drink the contents. When I was finished, I began to feel lightheaded. When I told him how I felt, he told me that I should drink another one.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oops, I had my microphone down. Whoop, my bad.
I did that, and I immediately began to feel woozy. Before too much longer, I could no longer stand up straight. When I asked him what the fuck was going on,
no.
He told me that I was fucked up and I felt sick. A few minutes later, I crawled to the bathroom, opened the toilet lid, and vomited into the toilet. Mr. Jones said that he'd expected this. He said that the same thing had happened to him the first time that he had gotten drunk, some 35 years earlier. He didn't blame me for my reaction, then calmly told me that I should sleep it off. I then went back into Earl's room and laid down. Earl noticed that my breath, as he would later tell me, smelled like beer. He knew that I had finally gotten drunk for the first time. He went out of the room. He was gone
Today
for
you're
like...
a man.
He was gone for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then he came back into the room. A little while later, I began to feel normal again. So I resumed talking to Earl. He asked me how it felt, and I told him that I absolutely loved getting drunk, that I wanted to go and find Gumball, change his world with this, make my own moonshine.
He left.
I wanted to do it again.
He left the room. He was gone for 5 to 10 minutes, and then he came back into the room. That was it. That was all that came of that.
I don't understand. Like, this person, if they really were born in 1990, like we think their user handle means, that means that in 2015 they were old enough that they shouldn't be writing like they were a teenager.
Daddy, don't fuck my alien friend. Please don't. Well, somebody's got to take care of this big old dick.
He's
Okay,
like,
Daddy.
He's like 25 and he's writing like that's how I would have written when I was in like high school or early 20s, where it's like, yeah, I love getting drunk, man. Let's do it again. Oh, this is great. Yeah, this is the best thing.
Would you have written about math?
No, probably not.
Yeah. He knows where it's at.
He wins. Okay, normal point of view. I still don't know what he means by that. Normal point of view, back in Earl's class. Dun dun. It was 15 minutes later. Earl had finished his quiz and was now waiting for the teacher to begin the lecture. When he finally did, however, Earl was very disappointed because the lecture was over the exact same material they'd covered the day before. Oh no! He sat there patiently waiting for the bell to ring, all the while taking notes. He sat there not listening to anything that Mr. Emerson was saying because he couldn't take his eyes off Mr. Emerson's flowing locks and his firm buttocks. He wondered in the deep recesses of his mind exactly how many creatures like Inferno there were. He knew that Inferno was number 666, but that did not mean that he was the youngest one, for there could be more after him that he'd never met. Back at Earl's house, dun dun, Inferno was laying outside in the backyard. He was thinking, reflecting on the first time he'd smoked a cigarette. His thoughts caused him to lose all track of time, and before he knew it, 25 minutes had passed.
Okay.
Flashback, Sunday morning, Inferno's point of view, dun dun.
Earl and I were sitting outside on his front porch. We were talking about what we were going to do in that upcoming week. Earl had already said that he had to go to school and explained what that meant. I said that I didn't know what I'd do. And after a few minutes of discussion, Earl pulled out a stick out of a box. It had an orange end over it. He stuck the orange end in his mouth. I asked him what he was doing and what that stick was. He told me that stick was called a cigarette, and that it was something that was smoked. I'd never had a cigarette before, but I was almost certain that I'd seen Experiment 626 and 629 doing the same thing when I was first created. I asked Earl if I could have one, and he pulled out the box. It was red and had the word Marlboro printed on it, like in the large type. He pulled out another cigarette and handed it to me. He then lit his cigarette. I put the orange end of the cigarette in my mouth, and I powered up, then put my claw up to the end of the cigarette. I followed what I saw Earl doing. I took a long draw off the cigarette, and then I inhaled. I could feel the smoke entering my lungs. I exhaled the smoke,
Oh my
and then coughed, and it was strange. I was told that smoking cigarettes was very bad for me and that I would keel over dead after the first drag, but that's not what happened at all. In fact, it felt rather refreshing, as if all the stress had suddenly left my body. We both then finished our cigarettes and went back inside.
Oh my god. And flashback, dun-dun. Back at the high school, dun-dun. Earl, bored out of his mind, was sitting there in the classroom, patiently waiting for the bell to ring. Any minute now, he thought. He was looking forward to what Mrs. Anders had to say in his next class. As he was thinking, the bell finally rang. He got up out of his seat and walked out of the room. He went straight to his locker to drop off his things from third period and then grabbed his stuff for fourth period. He then walked toward room number 143. Oh,
Cliffhanger.
I can't... Cliffhanger. Dun 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 dun.
I suppose we get in there. We're literally at an hour. This story is so good.
I can't take it anymore.
It's beautiful. It's such a great story. Like, it's like I'm there.
Yeah, I know. It's like you're literally going through this guy's friggin' class every day.
So I was looking at the top of the page. It says finished on Thursday, July 9th, 2015. The last chapter was finished on July 19th.
Oh.
Wait, what? Wait, which one was on July what?
This current chapter is July. It was finished
quiz
on
day.
July 9th.
Mm-hmm.
The last one was finished on 19th.
Well, that's funny because chapter 8, the next chapter, says it was finished on Friday, July 24th.
Something doesn't add up.
No, it doesn't at all.
What's more important is, I think Stephen King might have been plagiarizing this guy's work.
You think so?
I actually think so. I'm reading this and I'm like, this writer is so talented. I read this and I see like Harry Potter in it. Like if you change a couple of the names, it's Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's absolutely just J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
In disguise.
Let's read a review.
Yeah.
Over the past few chapters, there's been a shift towards more personal reflection of what your characters have been up to. I think it's added considerable value to your narrative. Inferno holds some great potential as a character who could investigate certain less explored aspects of experiments and their interactions with humans. Earl can be a dedicated guide for Inferno through a process of reciprocal learning and mutual trust development, a relationship that's beginning to be cultivated here. I hope the examination of their friendship continues in future chapters and that you continue to add value to your narrative through the personalities of your characters.
Wow, that's an in-depth review of something. Oh my...
As
God,
incredible as this? Was that what you were about to say?
I guess I'm very I'm flabbergasted.
I really miss Gumball Fiction. I miss Gumball Fiction so bad. I miss our lovable characters. This is like too good for us. I actually think that this fiction might be elevated past what we could typically read because it's so good.
I think you and I have a different definition of the word good.
Well, I mean, I like to read dictionaries. I find them riveting. Full of words and descriptions. I love that.
Seriously.
One of my other things is...
I think after we're finished with this, we can't do another one like this. There has to be some kind of narrative. Oops. I think that the Teen Titans one is pushing it a little bit, but it's at least, it's got some kind of, it's got something going on.
The Teen Titans one has cringe. You know what this one has? This one has fucking math. This one has describing the process of smoking a cigarette in full detail.
I know. It's
like
it's astounding.
I have read some contrived shit before. As somebody who reads Stephen King regularly, I know contrived shit, and yet, my God, the amount of detail and like smoking a cigarette in this is mind-numbing. Not that it's good. It's just like. How do you... Earl took a step, then he took another step. 24 steps later, he had arrived upon his class. Like, what? What?
He was neat. He had one book on one side of the shelf and another book on another side of the shelf.
Well, I suppose we should wrap up this bad boy. We reached an hour of this shit.
I suppose we should. I should say that, oh god, there's so many closing things. I just am going to say that by the healing power of my beard... You know what I forgot to say at the top of the show? That we were preaching caffeine, motherfuckers. I forgot that part.
There's too many things.
There's too many things. We need to... Yeah, we need to narrow down the things. By the healing power of my beard, which I don't actually have because I'm not Tony, I declare this the end of the show.
That's what he
says.
says.
That's what he says. That's what he
says,
right?
Because if it looks like magic, it's not magic.
Oh yeah, if it looks like magic, it's not magic. It's science, so deal with it. And Eric's eyes are as red as the devil's dick.
Fuck all that. It's just if it looks like magic, if it looks like magic, it's not magic. It's science.
I declare this the end of the show.
I declare this the end of the show. I like that better.
That's better.
Goodbye. Say goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.